Hi guys, this is Mr. Mahmoud. I hope you are fine and everything is fine with you. This is the second lesson in our fourth quarter curriculum, chapter 4. It's all about the clauses. And to remind you quickly what we have taken last lesson or last video, it was what was exactly the clause. It is a group of words that contains subject and predicate. Predicate means verb, and it has two types: independent clause and subordinate clause. Let's start with the independent clause. Independent clause is the normal sentence that has subject and predicate, and it can be sensible. It doesn't need another clause to be understood, and it can stand alone. The other type is the dependent clause or subordinate. So it has two names: dependent or subordinate. Of course, it has normal subject and predicate, and it can't stand alone. That's why it is dependent. Also, it has two types so far, because there is third type, and the next session we're gonna talk about it. The two types of the dependent or subordinate clause are adjective clause and adverb clause. Adjective clause is subordinate or independent. It has subject and predicate, and it's used to describe noun or a pronoun. Normal one. Describe noun or pronoun. But it must start with one of these relative pronoun that we have here: that, which, who, whom, whose, where, whoever, what. And the adverb clause is a dependent or subordinate clause, and it's used to describe a verb, adjective or adverb, and it must start with one of the most common subordinate conjunction, as we see here, after, although, as, because, than, whenever, before, if, since, though, unless, until, when, where, is, wherever. Let's take them one by one. I think we know everything about the adjective clauses. It's very easy, guys. Just start with a relative pronoun, and it is used to describe a noun or a pronoun. Here we have in your box exercise 2. We're gonna just identify each of the adjective clause. Number 1, cartoonists use a variety of unusual names for the symbols that commonly appear in comic strips. So the first thing that we're gonna look for is the relative pronoun in each one of these sentences. What is the first relative pronoun we have? It is the relative pronoun that. So this clause that I'm gonna follow that is adjective clause, that commonly appear in comic strips. Number 2, for example, a brevet is the little puff of dust hanging in the spot where a swiftly departing character was previously standing. I look for the relative pronoun, which is where. So this clause is adjective clause, where is standing here. All this is a adjective clause. Number 3, 4 times when cartoonists want to make something appear hot or smelly, they use wavy, rising lines called waftarons. So when is the relative pronoun. So when cartoonists want to make something appear hot or smelly is the adjective clause. Agatrons are the wiggly lines around an object that is supposed to be shaking. The same idea we have here with that, the relative pronoun that is supposed to be shaking, is adjective clause. Then we're gonna know about the adverb clause. Of course, it is subordinate. It modifies verb, adverb, or adjective as any normal adverb, and it tells how, or it answers how, when, where, why, to what extent, under what condition. And it is started with or introduced by a subordinating conjunction, and we have here some of the subordinate conjunction as we see after, because, since, when, although, before, and so on. You will find them all in your box. Let's go to exercise 4. Identify and classify adverb clauses. So we just gonna look for here the subordinated conjunction. In the adjective clause we were looking for the relative pronouns, but here we're gonna look for the subordinate conjunction. So let's start. If you look through newspaper from the first half of the 20th century, you will see many pictures of Mohandas K. Gandhi. With the subordinating conjunction, it is F. F, here we find it, F. So F till century, all this is the adverb clause. Do not forget that. Adverb clause is dependent or subordinate clause. And if we will start this complex sentence with the dependent clause, then we must add comma. We must add comma. But if we will start with the next clause or the independent clause, like you will see many picture of Mohandas K. Gandhi, that's independent clause. If we will start with it, it will be run-on sentence. Then we will not have to add any. So guys, we are in number 2 now. This man led India to independence from Britain, and he took his spinning wheel wherever he went. We can find the subordinate conjunction. Wherever he went is the whole adverb clause, and wherever is the subordinate conjunction. Number 3, he did so because he viewed spinning as symbol of the peaceful traditional Indian lifestyle. The subordinate conjunction we have here is because, and because he viewed spinning as symbol of the peaceful traditional Indian lifestyle is adverb clause. Number 4, he also hoped to encourage the Indian people to make their own clothes so that they wouldn't have to depend on British industry. We have so that subordinate conjunction, and whatever followed so that is the adverb clause, so that they wouldn't have to depend on British industry. The last one, as form of protest, he led marches or fasted until the government met his requests. And we have here until subordinate conjunction, and until the government met his requests is the adverb clause. Got homework in that page 106, starting from number 6 till 10. That's your homework. Thank you very much for your listening, and I hope really you will stay fine.